agents, three staff members plus a fourth who does all of our running. We sell about 250 to 275 homes a year on the team. We'll probably finish this year about 100 and maybe 110, 115 million in volume. Been in business for 20 years.
Wow, that's awesome. Decades of experience here. That's crazy to see and just speaks volumes as to why you guys are here and why everyone's joined in to learn from you and kind of figure out how we're navigating this new buyer market. And again, we don't want to say new because of course buyer agreements and things have always been around, but they were never really required. So how are you guys kind of working through that and trying to make sure that you're getting them signed and that your clients aren't running for the hills when you pull it out on that first appointment at the buyer consultation?
Yeah, so I think a couple of us have been in states where buyer's agreements have always been in place. But I think what's changed, at least for me in Pennsylvania, is that the national headlines. And so it's helping our buyers understand that national headline of wait, this is the way it's always been, right? Like sellers have always had the option to pay. And if they didn't want to pay, then buyers had to pay. And so basically understanding and telling them why they want a buyer's agent and the benefits of having a buyer's agent. And here's our fee for offering you these services. And if the seller isn't willing to pay for this fee, which they usually do, but if they don't, then we will work out ways to try and, it comes out in the wash, whether you pay it on the sale price or you pay it, directly as part of the commission. So I think it's really educating that buyer of what that fee means and how it's really integrated into the deal.
We in North Jersey, we've always had buyer's agency, but it really was very rarely used by many. So few agents actually used it. So everybody kind of had to get on board with it. The vernacular, the verbiage that we're using is the buyer's always been the one that paid the commission because I wrote the big check and that's the money that got divvied up. So it really changed nothing, number one. Number two, and as we were talking earlier, Amy made a great point, is it's written into the deal. So in essence, there's no extra money here being paid. It's how it gets cut up. We're educating both parties. Seller net is everything. I really haven't had much issues with it at all. It's education, and I think Michaela, you're 100% on point. You got to educate everybody.
I think that buyer agency, so I'm in a fun spot because I'm buy licensed with Mass and Connecticut, and I'm watching the struggle in Mass, but in Connecticut it's seamless, and I try to teach the agents how easy it actually is. I think that for the first time, like I give a buyer broker, but I also give a second form with a buyer broker, and the buyer broker says an authorization to collect compensation from the seller within an offer written. So that makes giving a buyer broker super easy when they're like, oh, so you're just going to ask the seller to pay it. And I say, of course we are. And if there's a chance that a seller isn't going to offer compensation, then we tell them that there's lenders that do finance it into the transaction, but it all affects the amount of money they're going to pay for the house. So it's all, so if they're going in and there's no buyer broker paid, we know that, well, most homes have buyer brokers. I think that a national average is 98% have buyer brokers associated. So it's only a small dual listing agent sale. So I would think that most of the offers on a property are all asking for buyer brokerage, all of them. So buyers, when they know that, make it easy. Now in Massachusetts, they're not used to this. This is new. They didn't have a buyer broker form that you had to sign. They just had an agency disclosure. Totally different ballpark. So they're struggling a little bit to incorporate and charge a fee, and they're having a hard time asking for compensation. So we're trying to teach them to say, use the two forms, use the buyer broker, and then ask for compensation from the seller to build it into the sales price. Very simplistic. So for me, it's become easier.
Yeah, definitely. And do you feel like it's easier to get it signed in a buyer consultation kind of setting or at that first appointment before you're walking in the house? Or what do you think is working best for you in both states and with all buyers?
Well, Connecticut law says you're not allowed to show a house without having it signed before you go into the house. So the nice precursor is that our favorite platform, Zillow offers the showing time authorization form instantly when you book a showing. So you can literally go into Zillow and send it, and they have to sign it before they enter a house, and they get it because it's instant. So that's a really nice way to precursor your way into a house that says you authorize me to be a showing agent on the property. Understand that I am representing you in this. It's just super simplistic.
Yeah.
So they sign it instantly, and I'm sure all the other platforms are adapting to that procedure. So it depends what program you play with, but Zillow makes your life simple. And I do have 500 buyer brokers in my car. So if someone catches me on the fly and I have to go show something in 5 minutes, I mean, I say it kind of cute. It's more, you know, this is showing authorization. You authorize me not only to be paid, but to show you the property. Simplistic.
Right. And you're having them sign it on the hood of your car, right? Like before
Yeah,
we
and I'm
walk
super-
in, we're super on it. You can't mess around with that because
And
also
I'm way cute when I
You
say
have
it.
to, yeah.
Yeah, so they like it. I'm a little sassy and cute, so make it super easy.
Yeah, definitely.
I found too, depending on how you get the buyer. So if the buyer is referred to you and you're having a buyer consultation, it's a little easier, it's a little smoother. They're willing, they're more trusting because they were referred to you to sign it for a long term. If they're maybe an online lead and they're not really sure who you are, a lot of them will just sign it for that property, is what we found in our area.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of that as well. In terms of the long term, it's at least ours. There's termination agreement built into it for 3 days. So I've always used the same line when I took a listing. Everyone says, "Oh, I don't want to sign it for 6 months." Well, I only sign it for 6 months. I'm never going to take a listing for a shorter period of time than that. However, I'm also going to offer you a guarantee. If at any point in time I'm not doing my job, fire me. I'll let you go out of the listing because I don't want any bad blood. It's the same thing in this. Oh, and by the way, no one's ever fired me on their listing. So when you have that common thread, usually the same thing happens on the buy side. No one's firing you out of there. You're doing your job. They're happy with it.
Yeah, definitely. That's the most important part. If you're doing your part and you're doing your job, then why would anyone want to jump ship for sure? Now I have seen some agents creating almost like a list of services. Have you come across anything like that to where they're like, they have a gold, silver, maybe a platinum, and they're kind of saying, if you select this, then we're going to charge 6%. You do this, it's 5, this, it's 4, and it kind of just lays out what they're going to get and what they could get. Do you suggest that? Are you guys doing something similar to that? Or does that feel a little cheap?
I've had agents in my brokerage do that for a long time on the list side, not
Right.
really on the buy side. It's really on the list side, and it's the list of services that they're going to receive for a higher dollar amount. Did you want floor plans? Did you want professional photography? Did you want open houses? Did you want special paid advertising campaigns and whatnot? It's not something we've done personally on our team. I've seen other people do it. I think that's depends on who the client is. Some clients love the idea of having options, right? A la carte goes a long way for some people. So to each their own.
Yeah, I would agree with Ron. It's not something our team practices. We offer the same level of service, whether you're, a $300,000 buyer or a $3 million buyer or a seller, you get the same level of service. I think it'd be hard to delineate. But that being said, like Ron said, some people like that a la carte. They're like, well, I can do this and I can do that. So I only want to pay you for this little service here. And I think, that's great for some agents and the way they want to operate. But I know our team and most of the teams we deal with are full service.
Yeah, I do everything all inclusive too, whether it's 50,000 or, well, I don't have any $5 million listings, but if I did,
Today.
I might
You don't have
do
any
more.
today.
I
They're
might
in
do
the
a little more.
pipeline.
Right. But I am thinking that of increasing my services in this type of market because, we were talking a little bit about listings. Listings right now are hard to have people understand the ability to move, and they're also shopping all over the internet for services. So I'm thinking of doing a pre-home inspection to try and make, these as-is offers go smoothly and offering a little bit more towards making my sale more seamless rather than having the buyer having to, I'm going to say, buyer beware. It's kind of sad out there a little bit because especially when you meet a first time you sign a buyer broker and then they want the house and then they have 48 hours to decide if they want the house. They can't do a home inspection because everybody else is waiving it and you get the criteria what's needed. I think that's sad. So if it's my listing, I think I'm gonna make a package to have it pre-inspected so at least there's for informational purposes only, here's our inspection we had done. Now you probably get a stronger buyer, stronger bidder, and a much easier transaction. And that's my future is what I'm thinking.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea.
That's an awesome idea. I've seen agents do that in New Jersey with REOs, the real estate owned and the bank owned stuff. And that has definitely made transactions a little more seamless. So everyone knows upfront that it needs a hot water heater or that the roof is shot, everything like that. So I think that's a great idea and definitely something to start doing in your business. Speaking of listings and sellers, are you guys finding more sellers being a little more tentative on offering the full commission and kind of being willing to do that? Or are they, again, has always been up for negotiation, like we mentioned, but are they being a little more hard and playing a harder ball than they were back in the day where we kind of just would say it's 5%, or what have you?
I personally have not experienced it at all. If anything, when you go through the explanation and the educational process up front, they pretty much come to the self-determination that it's silly not to offer a co-broke, right? It just is, because you're minimizing the pool of people. At least by us in the exclusive buyer's agency agreement, there's actually a box that a buyer can check to say, don't show me a house if there's no co-broke. So why would you want to limit it? So when we go through the listing presentation and consultation the same way we do on the buy side, we go through full education, self-realization. Absolutely, I'd be crazy not to offer a co-broke. And so I've yet to have somebody say no to it. And again, that's in our area, right? Other areas, they're going to be a little bit different. What's normal, what's common. For us, it's expected that there's a co-broke. So if you're one of the few that doesn't, it doesn't come across warm and fuzzy.
Right. Filters you out almost.
Yeah, and I would agree with what Ron said too. You know, I feel like rarely do we come across sellers that aren't offering the co-broke. When you do, you feel like the agent on the other side isn't quite as experienced, and maybe they didn't help their client understand the benefit of offering co-broke. But as the buyer rep in that side, you just write it into your offer, right? So at the end of the day, like Ron said, when you explain it to your seller, it all comes out equal, right? At the end of the day. And so it's just explaining it to your seller, hey, if you don't offer a co-broke up front, you might limit your buyer pool because they're going to have to come out of pocket for it one way or the other.
So I have absolutely had a seller not offer a co-broke fee and say they weren't paying no matter what. Okay, and then I would put it on the database, our multiple listing service, and a buyer's agent would call me and say, we really want to show it. We're super motivated, homeless humans. So I call my seller and said, okay, well, you want to show it. This person is going to seek a buyer agency commission. And we talked about this, and they would like to get paid 2.5%. I said, you have a homeless buyer that's very eager, that's lost multiple bids. Do you want to let him in? And they said yes. And guess what? They bought the house, and my seller paid.
Yeah.
So that's how life works. And the reality is no seller's going to say no. And you can't say no to something when you don't even know what you're saying no to. And the thought of that high buy side is in their mind. What are they doing? They've got to let them in. You've got to see it. It's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, definitely. Especially as days in market start to kind of creep up a little bit compared to what they were a year and a half ago, definitely. How are you guys structuring your deals? We're talking about including the commission into the offers that we're sending out. How are you putting it in there? Are you just tossing it on top or just kind of saying, hey, sellers, do me a solid? Like, what are we doing with that? We'll start with Michaela.
Yeah, so we are writing it into our contract that the seller is paying X% in commission, whether it's through a seller assist or it's paying the buyer agency.
Amy, I cut you off, sorry.
Yeah, I boil it right in because I just put it right in the selling price with a represented seller compensation agreement to pay buyer agency, because I don't like to use it as a closing cost or an add-on or layer, because when you do, the appraisers tend to scrutinize it and then they start, you know what I'm saying? They're reacting badly. They're being bad appraisers. They're not appraising it for the price we need. So I just build it in, and I explain to the seller that if you do it any other way and you a la carte this service and try to, label it as a closing cost credit, you risk appraisal, leave it the way it is.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Amy. I also think that as agents, when we structure the deal, when we present it to the other agent, so if you're representing a buyer and you're making this presentation to a listing agent, it's making sure that email, because we're not doing this in person, doing this email and making it so incredibly clear with a big, fat, giant, bold net number on the bottom. The rest of it doesn't matter as much. Like Amy said before, at the end, it's what they walk away with. That's what they care about. So when you place it inside and say, hey, it includes a 3% commission. And at the bottom, there's a net of X on whatever it may look like. That's what they're looking at. That's what they care about. Then that agent who received that, they want to work with you because you presented this incredible offer. Here's my title company. Here's my mortgage company. Here's where we are. Here's our attorney, everything. They're ready for a smooth transaction. And then they're telling their seller, this is somebody you should accept.
And Ron, you hit the nail on the head too, like highlighting what the net is, because I've had agents on my team where they put it in the offer, even though they wrote it in, it wasn't big and bold. And unfortunately, the listing agent missed it and they accepted their offer, not realizing the buyer agency commission was in there.
Yeah.
And then they had to go back and try and renegotiate later.
Yep.
I had a seller that was offering a lower than normal buyer agency fee, and they were pretty firm on what they wanted to pay no matter what. And then I had someone come with a really high buyer agency fee, really high, like almost like, what? You're getting paid like double. But their offer was 100,000 over list with no contingencies. And I said to my seller, I said, I'm jealous because I wish I was on the buy side of this one, but I'm on your side. And I said, and if you don't pay it, you're going to lose that equity that this buyer's giving you, which is 100,000 over everybody else. So the seller, didn't like the idea, but they definitely went with the transaction.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Like Ron said, the net, that's all that everyone wants to know is how much is going to end up in my pocket. All the other numbers, sure, they make sense, but we're scrolling through that email, like you said, to find that net number to figure out what's going in the pocket. So I know we talked about doing as much as we can with getting the commission paid by the seller, but have you ever talked with a buyer where they see the agency agreement and they're like, there's no way that I can pay you 2.5% on a $500,000 house. Like, we have to get this done and with a seller. How do you navigate that conversation and kind of put their minds at ease? And how are you training your agents to kind of scripts and things like that on how to take a deep breath? We're going to get this done. Like, I'm not expecting you to find another 10K on top of your down payment, on top of closing costs. What are you talking with that?
It's easy. The represented seller compensation agreement. You just put that with your buyer broker and say that if the seller is not willing to pay the compensation, then move on. We'll find a seller that will.
Okay. I dig that. Ron, Michaela, you guys are kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah. And, again, I'll default back to, the worst case scenario is you ask for a buyer assist. Our MLS breaks out between a buyer commission fee that they have to pay, like a buyer assist commission fee, and the regular buyer assist. So the appraisers can go in and see, are they paying, are they getting the assist for commission? Are they getting the assist for repairs? So it doesn't impact the appraisal as much. But, we also, I think Ron or Amy said earlier, say, look, if they're not willing to pay it, it's your dream house. We can wrap it into your mortgage, right? We can ask for that buyer assist. We can wrap it into your mortgage and find different creative ways to do it.
So wait, your
and honestly offer less too, right? Like, because that neighbor down the street probably offered a buyer agency commission and they sold their house for 500. And if this seller's not offering a buyer agency commission, then you shouldn't have to pay 500 for it because it's not worth 500.
Right.
So your MLS has that displayed?
Yep. But after it sells. So after it closes, you can see if the seller assist was for commission or if it was for repairs.
I see.
Oh, wow.
We
That's a
don't,
nice
Right.
touch.
It's right
we don't
in
have
MLS.
that. I wish we did. That actually sounds awesome.
Yeah, we don't have that.
We just have concession. Yeah, I've just seen
Yeah,
concessions.
concession.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's broken into two now.
One of the things I could say when working with the buyers and you're doing your buyer agent consultation and you walk through this, we take a very soft approach, right? Everyone's like, oh, you can sell ice to an Eskimo. I'm like, yeah, but I don't really sell anything. I open up doors and I present facts and then the people buy. So I live by the mantra that everybody likes to buy and nobody likes to be sold. So you make a presentation to them, and then the minute they feel it's being taken away, trust me, they have the money. So up front, they're going to say, there's no way I could pay 2.5% commission on this. And then they see the house that they love. And the minute it's going to be taken away from them by themselves, because we're not the one that did it, suddenly mom's got money, dad's got money. Oh my gosh, I'm getting a bonus, whatever the case might be. And people come up with money. And that's not a sales tactic. That's really a psychology tactic, right? Where you come to the realization on your own that either you are going to buy this house or you are going to lose this house. It's really not us. It's totally them. So you just open up doors and give them facts, and everybody comes up with the money. How many times have you guys been out with a buyer who says their max purchase price is $600,000, but they bought an $800,000 house, right?
That's never
Yeah.
happened.
Maybe not a 200K jump, but maybe 50, maybe 50K. I could see that. I don't know. North Jersey is this whole different animal. So
Yes.
are you guys seeing a shift in financing? Are we still having a lot of buyers that are doing FHA and kind of focusing on VA and things like that, or really pulling to make that conventional thing happen? What are you seeing finance wise?
1 in 3 buyers are cash buyers for me.
Yeah.
I just did my first FHA loan in quite a long time. We've been able to do some VA loans because the AnnieMac Cash to Keys program. So that's really helped my VA loans get through. And then the rest are conventional.
So the highest bidders are the government loan programs because we have a lot of cash offers here too. But I find that anyone with a government loan overcompensates with money, and they bid the highest, and then the sellers often want to roll the dice with the appraisal and get the highest deal instead of taking the cash. And then so I have quite a few of government, especially here in Connecticut. I don't know what you guys have, but we have a $50,000 grant here that for first time buyers, they get free 50,000. So that program has caused people to, pretty much throw away the 50,000 on overpaying and getting the property. And then that grant gets forgiven in time anyway. There's no interest.
We do not have that program
that is
here.
quite a
We're
program.
spoiled. We're spoiled. We got a great program.
That's interesting. I'd love to hear more details on that, like what the buyback is on something like that. It's forgiven over time, but I assume they probably have to keep the house for like 10 years or something.
8 years, 0% interest.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, every year is 1/8 forgiven.
Got it. Got it.
Wow. Making
Very
me
good.
want to
Yeah.
move. Might be calling you to set me up in Connecticut over
Let's
here.
go. Let's go.
I have a close friend that lives out there, so I mean, it could happen. So since Michaela mentioned Cash to Keys, are you guys using that platform super often to kind of switch those government loans and switch those VA buyers into cash? Are you having success with that?
Yeah, we are in our area for sure. I mean, whether it's a VA or a conventional loan, because they are competing with cash. And if you're a true cash buyer, you're like, I don't have to offer more, right? And so, but people are still worried about appraisals because how quickly prices have escalated in our area over the past couple years. It's really been able to help our clients win the property with this cash offer, and it gives our clients comfort to know that they're still able to do a home inspection, right? They're still able to offer an appraisal gap. Sometimes they're still able to get an appraisal waiver and land the property and compete against these other cash offers.
Yeah, my favorite element is the recent increase where it's jumped up to 1.5 million. I was showing a property about a month ago, roughly, and I have a couple coming out of Connecticut, ironically, and they're moving into Jersey, and they've got a nice home that's going to sell pretty quickly, but they need that to sell in order to buy. I said, oh wow, I said we have a great program, Cash to Keys, but unfortunately it's capped at a million. It was like 999 or something, right? And I would say within an hour of the conversation, Youssef, our rep, sends me a text message about this update that it just increased to 1.5 million. I said, there's no way this is real. So I confirmed it with him. I sent it to the buyer, and now they're connected, and now that's it. We're ready to go. So for us, it's less about the conversion of VA and FHA, and it's more about contingencies. So not having to enter into a purchase contract with a home sale contingency, which you're out. There's no way people are jumping on board for that. It has been gold for us, absolute gold.
Okay, well, we don't like you, Ron, because your median average price is really, really sad for us.
They're not all that, I promise you.
Okay.
So in my world, yes, it really helps because the median average price here is 350. So with that being said, we're doing a whole lot of work for that. But with that median average, this program Keys for Cash, my team has used it multiple times and it definitely works because a lot of those only have, 3 to 5% down. So it's an excellent program for it. And they also have the bridge. So the AnnieMac has the bridge. If you have a home to sell, they'll let you buy, and then you have a certain amount of time to sell your house post buying the new one. It's an excellent program to get rid of the Hubbard. Hubbard means home sale contingency.
Yeah, we actually use that program a lot. It really helps find inventory. How many times our clients are like, "Oh, I'd buy a house, but I don't want to sell mine first. I don't want to be homeless. Like, I need the equity. I can't compete because I have a home sale contingency." And it really has helped find inventory, to be honest with you, because my clients can go shopping without the fear of being homeless because they have the home sale contingency. So the buy now, sell later program really helps them leverage the cash purchase, and then they can move into their new home, get their old home ready, and then sell that home. So it's been amazing. We've used that a lot. We actually use it a lot with buyers coming in from out of state too. So not even just in state, but a lot of times when they're coming in from out of state.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, some serious peace of mind with the buy now, sell later. 100%. Speaking of updates though, the 1.5, it also now you can do FHA loans with cash to keys.
Yes.
So that gives another opportunity for buyers to convert, again, those tough loans that are getting accepted or not getting accepted, converting them into cash and giving them a better chance of getting into the home that they want faster, smoother, and for cash.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a huge win, especially when things anticipate a busy spring. Hopefully all indications look like we're going to have a really busy spring. So I think that'll be really key for our FHA buyers come springtime.
Yeah, 100%. Do you guys have any super success stories? I know Ronnie just mentioned with the expansion to the 1.5. Michaela, do you have any heartwarming stories that you've made happen with the Cash to Keys programs we have here?
I do. I'll share one. So I first started working with this client. We got their house under contract. We hadn't used the program yet. We got their house under contract, and then they couldn't find a home, and so we had to let that buyer out of their out of the contract. And then I was introduced to the buy now sell later program. They signed up for it. They found their dream home, got it under contract. We listed their house right away, got it under contract pretty quickly. And something happened on the sale of their home, which would have impacted the purchase of their new home, which again had like 3 transactions as well, right? So the house they were buying, those people were contingent on buying another house, who was contingent on buying another house. It would cause this huge ripple effect. And because we were using the buy now sell later program, we were still able to go through with the purchase of their brand new home, which was their dream home, which was out of the neighborhood they wanted. It was like 1 in 3 homes fit their criteria. It was so limited on what they wanted. So the fact that they were able to find it, be a cash offer without being contingent, and we got their house under contract. And again, it had that something came up at the very last minute. And had it been a normal situation, we not use the buy now sell later program, everything would have fell to pieces. But because we were able to buy it for cash, and then we got this little piece resolved on their home, they were able to sell like 2 weeks later. So it worked out perfectly. Where again, if we hadn't used it, it would probably been like 5 transactions would have failed because of it.
Wow, quite the domino effect there.
Yeah.
That's a tough one for sure.
Congrats.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good one. Amy, do you have any great stories to share with us?
I haven't, as sad as it is, I haven't used the program because almost all of my cash buyers were actual cash buyers. And I'm a heavy listing agent, and I have the buyers are usually selling the home to go in, but I haven't used the cash to keys, and I haven't used the bridge yet. So I'm a rookie. I'm going into it though. It's gonna be my new.
And I will say, because I know, I mean, you called it a bridge. It's actually not a bridge. You're not having to make payments like you would in a normal bridge loan, which is fantastic. So previously, back in the old day when we did bridge loans, our clients were having to pay on that bridge loan. This one, you just accrue the payment, like the rent payment. And then you pay it off all at the end. So my clients really like that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Or if you're lucky and you can close in the same day, there's nothing at all.
Right.
That's the goal.
It's
Nice.
definitely one of the best programs. And I just, Michaela, how you were talking about opposite states. We have a closing coming up on Monday with a couple coming in from Delaware. And it was the same situation, right? They knew their house was going to sell, knew it was going to sell quick. But what do you do? You know, and that's what we went in with cash to keys, found the house, made the purchase, done, you know, and it's, you know, it's beautiful. It's peace of mind. So that purchase was all 100% completed. There's no craziness like Amy, you're talking about, like same day closings, or Michaela just said that. It's so incredibly peaceful for the buyers. It really is. So
Yeah, it's
thank you,
like,
Annie.
here's your keys, go shopping, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's different about AnnieMac and other companies that have similar programs is it's private equity. So there's no like secretive anything like that. Like this cash is real. It's in hand. There's no waiting for the shoe to drop or the other people to kind of sign a check or something like that. It is all in-house, which makes it super, super seamless using that and going back and forth, especially with the bridge loans and stuff like, or the cash bridge. Not a bridge loan,
Yeah.
cash bridge is what we call it. Super awesome for people who have a lot of equity in the house that they are going to be selling, but are a little nervous to just get out there and buy something without getting it set up yet.
And and to your point, when I'm presenting it to a seller's agent that hasn't used a program before, the fact that I can say, and here's the proof of funds, right? Like, here's the proof of funds. It is a legit buyer. It gives them a lot of peace of mind.
Yeah. And another plug for it too. If anybody's on this webinar right now and you've not used it, I just would encourage you so much to go speak to your representative from AnnieMac, because the program also comes with like counselors. So there's people that are working on the file to help you understand it, your buyer understand it. And to Michaela's point, they could even have a conversation with the seller whom which you're presenting this offer. The people are phenomenal in this program.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have a group of dedicated home purchase coordinators who, like Ron said, walk you through every single step. They're there to talk to you every day. If you have questions, there's no such thing as a silly question. The only one is a question that's not asked. So everyone here is super helpful on that. And it's not just underwriters and it's not just loan processors and your LO. You get a whole team when you use this program. So that's something that sets us apart as well from other programs.
And Ron, that's actually what I do a lot of times. If the agent that we're putting the offer in on has not heard of the program before, I immediately have the loan officer call them right away too and explain it. Like, I give them like the highlight, but I'm like, I'm going to have the loan officer come and explain it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be sure to leverage your partners. That's another thing that we do here too, is keep everyone in the loop and keep everyone connected. How are you presenting the cash to keys offers and cash bridge and all of that to listing agents? Are you getting a lot of "this is too good to be true, I don't believe it, no way, Jose"? Like how are you battling that?
I don't think there's a battle. It's a cash offer. I mean, there's no battle. This is a cash offer. There's nothing else. You don't even have to get involved in, well, Johnny's buying it, but AnnieMac's it's a cash offer. And like Michaela said, here's a brief description. This gentleman's going to be calling you. This woman's going to be calling you. They'll go through everything. It's a cash offer. Period.
Mhm.
The end. I don't know about you guys, but I've never had someone say to me, sounds too good to be true, I'm not taking this offer. That's not happened. Thank God. I hope it never happens.
It has not happened to me either.
Yeah.
Wow, that's what we like to hear. Good news. If it does happen to you, we do have people that can walk you through it. So we're going to be wrapping up soon, but I want to talk a little bit more about team building, and then we'll jump into a little bit of social media. So Ron, I know that you have a team and you have a couple of offices. We've talked before, and you said that a team starts with good staff. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. So like I said, I've been in business for 20 years. I started a team when I was with a different company, a company that didn't understand teams. So that means I built it wrong. Then I had to strip it, and then I had to rebuild it and start over again. And it's been phenomenal. And now that mantra, understanding how that all works, I've then taken that into the market centers, the offices, and that's where the rockstar staff makes everything grow. So we have, in our two offices, we have about 410 agents that are supported by the most incredible people at every different level, right? It's not just like an office manager and then that's it. There's multiple levels. On the team side, your team, you can do so much as an agent. Your team is not your agents. And I just, if you're the rock star agent, if you're the rainmaker, you need to hear this. Everyone thinks that they need to go and grow a team, so they need to go and attract agents, which is good. But if you don't have the staff that could support them, you will lose them. And you yourself, you're the rock star. You're the one that made it rain every day in your career, and then you were trying to grow. If you have the right who, if you have an administrative staff that can take so much off your plate, each good admin is supposed to add about 26 transactions to you personally. So they say breakpoint is anywhere between like 35 and 40. So you do 40 transactions, you're working at 2:30 in the morning, you need help, you hire an admin. You hire the admin, you still don't need another agent, you're gonna get up to 65 transactions on your own. What's your next move? Admin number two. Admin number two gets you up to about 90 transactions all on your own. And the crazy thing is, it was better than when you were working all alone on only 40 transactions.
Yep.
So it's that administrative staff and making sure that the staff themselves has individualized tasks. So everybody shouldn't be in the pot doing the same thing. One staff member should be responsible, let's just say on the list side, another one should be responsible on the transaction management side. And as you choose to grow, depending on what you want to add, you could get into, you mentioned social media, you could have a marketing manager, you could have listing coordinators, you could really grow the team that way. And yes, after that second admin, in my opinion, based on me doing it wrong, stripping it, rebuilding it, that's when you add your agents.
Yeah, I would agree with Ron. You know, you get to a certain threshold as a independent agent, as a single agent, that things start slipping through the cracks because you're just moving at lightning speed. And like you said, your inclination is like, I'm going to bring on another agent. I'm going to bring on an agent to help me with these transactions over here that I don't want to do, or maybe this geographic area that's a little too far away. No, your first hire should be an admin, right? It should be somebody that is, you know, in front of the computer, helping you with that transaction while you're out there winning the business and meeting the client.
Yeah, Amy, do you agree with that?
Yeah. So for me, so I have a team of 10 and then I have a company beyond the team of about 250. So the team of 10 is kind of my internal, Amy. So they handle lead pool. So and I also have staff. So I have, well, I torture my staff. So I have a transaction coordinator, and then I have my right arm. I'll just say I have my right arm who does all of the in-office minutia, the write the offer when I'm on the road, to do the listing contract, send it out, order the photos, do the etc. And then I have I'm going to call her my management, who tells me what I'm doing wrong and helps us with the team and structure. And then, you know, I spend my time, I'm addicted to webinars. I have a problem. Everything that looks good, I have to see what it is. I can't leave a rock unturned. So I do at least 3 to 4 webinars a day for new tools, education, new tips in the market. And that's my job. So I do it and I teach it to the team and I implement all of the best strategies in the market. And then they are the armed forces fighting the battle.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
want to go back to something Ron said really quick. You can talk to 10 agents and they're going to tell you 10 different ways on how they built their team, right? Don't be afraid to build a team, and don't be afraid to to burn it down and redo it again.
Definitely. And if I could issue the best challenge ever, um, Amy, you're talking about like all different people and telling you what to do. I think the greatest move in your business is when you fire yourself as CEO and you bring somebody else in that becomes the center of the wheel that actually tells you what to do and when to do it. And you'll find out how much further you can grow because you brought somebody in with a skill set that we don't possess. Most of the time, when you're a rock star agent, you don't possess that skill of a true CEO because you're involved, you're in the middle of it all. And the minute you bring that person in, oh my goodness, it's like explosive. Everything changes. But it's tough, right? Because the ego says, no, I'm the CEO. The minute you pull yourself out of that, oh my goodness, it's crazy growth.
No, I'm with you. I'm a people person. I love the people. I
Yeah.
spend my time doing what I do best. It's working with people. And then, you know, they can boss me around all day and tell me what's right and wrong, and I will take it. I will listen, and then I'll let them scrub my credit card when I go and buy 15 programs, and they make me cancel them all every month. I'm just like, leave me alone. I just want to do what I want to do. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, no, definitely. Call yourself the president. Hire yourself a CEO who can take care of everything and, like
Fine.
you said, boss you around and do all
Yeah.
that stuff, and call yourself the president. So this way that ego gets stroked, because I understand how agents work. But of course, we also have to have someone who kind of runs the ship. And like Ron said, when you're stuck in the middle of it, it's impossible to see everything that's going on everywhere because you're getting pulled in 100 different directions all day, every day. So let's touch a little bit on social media. How are you guys doing that? Are you focusing on content? Do you have someone who kind of takes care of it for you? What is your best practices when it comes to getting your names out there on socials?
I feel like that's its own job as well, because there's just so much, right? And every day it's like there's a different social media almost, right? So you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to learn that one. So I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times I'll have people say, yeah, oh my gosh, I saw whatever it is that you put on there. And a lot of times I'm like, oh, that's great. And then I turn around, I'm like, I have no idea what they saw because I didn't do it because somebody else did it, right? And you have somebody that's working that. The other thing is then there becomes the misconception that you're on social media all the time. And then all of a sudden you miss their great announcement because the truth is I'm not on social media all the time. But when it comes to social media specifically, I think you need help. You need somebody that's going to be specifically involved in it so that you have continuous relative content that looks good, number one. And number two, advice is make sure you cross the platforms. Um, a lot of people say, focus on one thing, one platform. Personally, I don't agree with that because you don't know where your buyers are focused. Some buyers love Facebook. Some buyers love Instagram. Some buyers love, whatever, LinkedIn or whatever, or TikTok. It doesn't matter which one. So what I would say is whatever you create, just make sure you're spreading it out across all different platforms.
I would add to that too is make sure it's authentic. It's so easy to get pulled into like I follow some agents and I'm like, oh my God, I would love to do that, but that's not me. And then you see other agents who are doing every single trend that's out there. And at the end of the day, you have to remember like what's authentic to you. You know, social media for some people can be a little bit uncomfortable anyway. So like maybe push your boundaries a little bit, but stay authentic to you, right? So like our team mantra is all about education. So, I'm posting market minute updates. That's authentic to me. Other team members love to give neighborhood tour guides. Like that's authentic to them. But stay what's authentic to you because if you don't, it's going to really come across to people as not authentic.
So
Well said.
I automate all of my listing feed so that I never miss a beat. So I use a program that automates to all social media and it puts my just listed, my price changes, my open houses, everything's automated. I've tried to hire staff to do it, but it's too costly and too encumbering to do it. And then when someone changes the date of an open house or hours change because something happens, it gets messed up. So I stopped that and now everything is done by the computer in automation. And then for myself, like I'm kind of not really into social media that much. I mean, I like going on there, but I did a lot of pre-recorded videos on really important content. And then I have them scheduled out for, well, a couple years. Because that was what I had time to do. So I spent a lot of time doing my video content and it's distilled one a month onto all platforms. That's enough for me. And then the rest is personal. I put myself out there. I'm a person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amy,
that's
what
what I
program
want
do
to
you
add too,
use?
Amy. I think that's key. If it's all business, it's lost.
Yeah,
When
no.
people find you as a person and they see what's going on in your life, I
Yeah.
don't know about you guys, but that's where I get the most traction is
Me
what's
too.
going on in your personal life. So
It's the truth. So I use Back at You Media for my social sharing, for the automation, and then I hired a media artist who does graphics to film me, question me, and sit with me for hours upon hours and create content that was important to me. And that's what I distill out there. And then I have a couple. I use Room View for professional automation, which is awesome. stats on my market that distills the market every single week on Friday. And that's stats of what the current rates are, buy trends, sell trends. It's fabulous. So it makes me look smart and I love it. And then the rest of it is my dog. Listen, I love my dog. So it's all I got to say is she's out there, Suki, my baby, and people love my Suki, and I love my humans. So if I'm out with the girls or something, I'll post my social self, like being me.
Yeah, people go on socials to be social. So like Ron said, you don't want to do strictly business stuff. You don't want to really be posting stuff that's like super A, B, C. Like A is for appraisals, B is for buyers. You want to show in some of yourself in there, including Suki. If you have kids, people like to see your kids sometimes. If you feel comfortable sharing them on social media, like Amy said, out with the girls, all of that stuff, people want to see you and they are going to work with you because of who you are, not because you sold $175 million in the last 5 years or anything like that. They're going to work with you because they want to work with you. So
Let
does
me say
anyone
this
have
too.
anything to add? Yeah.
Yeah, be vulnerable because that's really where the gold is. So just two awesome examples. So my business partner, Bill Boswell, he's vulnerable and he puts his stuff out there. The one time, and I'm telling you, this went straight viral. He slid from his front door to the street in the ice, and his Ring camera caught it. So he posted it. It went nuts. It went nuts. Got nothing to do with real estate. Everyone went nuts. Then, in his infinite wisdom, he's playing softball with his daughter. She never swung a bat in her life. She has a metal bat. He has a real softball, and he pitches it to her. And of course, there's only one place she could hit him, and she did. And it's all on the camera. And it's another one that went crazy. So now everyone's watching this and loving it. So to your point, they didn't then call him to go and buy that house or sell that house because of all the millions of dollars of sales, but because the video was so funny. So be vulnerable.
Totally. And honestly, people I don't think want to know how much money you make. You know what I'm saying? I think they don't want to hear about you bragging about yourself. I think this is about, us telling them it's about them, us helping them. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that you got to just put it out there that you're willing to do what it takes to help them and take the stress off of them, and we'll take the stress on for them. I think that's hugely important. And I kind of promote that a little bit and say, listen, I got you. We'll help you. Whatever your problem is, we'll solve it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to end, or my last question for the day is going to be, why should buyers use a buyer's agent instead of just working with a listing agent?
Who wants to
Because
take it
that's so much,
first?
I'm going to get a better deal if I just work with a listing agent, right? Like it's going to, obviously my offer is going to get accepted, right?
Yeah, okay. I'll start it. Okay. Well, first of all, a seller's agent isn't going to represent a buyer for free. So a seller's agent, if they become a dual agent, needs to get paid on both sides of the transaction. There's logistic accountability held on both sides of the transaction, representing two parties in one deal. So it's not true that it's going to be free. Maybe there's like a secret you might learn somewhere down the road, but what benefit is that is you want someone to represent your interests internally. You want to make sure you get the best financing out there, the best eyes on that property, and you want to be taken care of. And plus, who are you gonna call at 6 o'clock till 9 p.m. to go show you houses all every evening after work when the new listings come, all weekend long when the new listings come? I mean, you want that catered service. This is a hard job, you guys. Representing buyers is a long, lengthy transaction. For all I know, I'm on Amy to like 7,000 people right now because I've been showing them houses for 2 years and still out there plugging. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a long, long road to travel.
It's funny, Amy, you just hit like the nail on the head, like the people that are just dialing and calling the listing agent, sometimes maybe not even getting the listing agent, even though they think they are. And I'm like, if you had a buyer's agent, they would do all of that for you.
Yeah.
Amy's point about the discount, that's the key, because they call the listing agent thinking they're getting a discount. They're not getting a discount. They're getting paid. No one's working for free. What do you think? It's half? This goes right back to educating, the public and your people so they understand what it's all about. Yeah.
Yeah.
They love us, you guys. They don't want us for free. They love us.
That's right. Tell your friends. All right. So does anyone have any extra tidbits or anything like that you want to share out with the crowd that we have today before we kind of wrap up?
I could probably give you one. on this topic that Amy, was just talking about, how there's, the buyer's agent and how important it is. So we recently had a transaction where one of our agents was out with a buyer, and this agent is only in the business for about 5 years. So they really, even less, maybe 4, they don't know the other market. So that other market is starting to rear its head a little bit. We're not going down. We still have limited inventory, but we are starting to see some homes sit for a little while. Not everything is just jumping out there. So people made an offer. They were willing to go like 40,000 over asking. He said, "What do you think?" I jumped in. I said, "Don't take offense." I said, "But would you mind taking a seat and let me handle this?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Great. Just pay attention. I'm going to teach you something." And so I said, "This house isn't worth it." "No, no, no. They're willing to pay it." I go, "I don't care that they're willing to pay it. It's not worth it. Just watch." So I went through negotiating, something we have not had to do for a long time, right? We've not negotiated in the past 4 or 5 years. We just dropped and gave everything. And so I said to this agent, I said, "Hey, listen," I said, "I heard you have another buyer that's FHA. They're willing to pay you more money." I said, "We're going to bow out. I don't want to get in your way. I want you guys to get that transaction." I knew they didn't have that. So I backed out. Her response to me was exactly what I told the buyer it would be. And that is, "Well, what about at your original price? Are you still interested then?" And that's exactly what they said, verbatim. And I said, "Honestly," I said, "we're really struggling with square footage. So again, I don't want to get in your way." So I didn't pull the rug out and make them feel terrible, like I'm a bad person, bad agent. I made them feel loved and I cared about them. Go get your deal. 3 days later, I checked in. I said, "Hey, how you doing with that FHA buyer?" "Well, what a surprise. FHA buyer wasn't there. Too many red flags." "Okay. Are you people still interested?" I said, I don't know. I'll check. But again, we're struggling square footage. End of the story. I pulled like 65,000 off of that number from what they were willing to pay to the deal that we're now under contract on. So why do you use a buyer's agent? And why do you use somebody who knows what they're doing in this industry? Well, I don't know. That's 65,000 reasons right there in dollars and cents, or apples and oranges, right, Michaela? However you want to look at it. But so represent your people to the fullest. Just because they can doesn't mean that they should, and know your market inside and out so that you can represent your people to the fullest.
Right.
I'm going to leave my last tidbit of if you have only been in the business for, I'd say like 6 years. Yeah, COVID. Go get coffee with an agent that's been in the business since 2006, 7, 8, 9, right? Because you will get a much different story about how they grew their business and how they suffered through those lean times. And I guarantee you, if they were in the business then and they're still in the business, it's all about being consistent, which is something that we haven't had to do in the past 4 years. It literally was throwing whatever you had, whatever you could out there to make it work. And now it's being consistent with your calls, with your clients, with your service. So that would be and coffee. Go get coffee with that agent that's been in the business since, pre-COVID.
Perfect.
What do you got for us, Amy?
So my tip for everyone is, if you're in this business, and I mean, these past 5 years have been a whirlwind and it's been a hard road to travel. And, maybe not the first year of COVID, that was probably gangbuster. We all made, money like crazy. But then now it's
Paid
changed
for
a
my
little
whole
bit.
wedding.
Yeah. So I say focus on your personal relationships with your clients. Focus on it, because your business and your longevity relies on your personal referrals. It's not about buying lead pool or any of it. It's about building a trustworthy relationship that will last a lifetime and being that liaison forever, and treating them like they're you're part of your inner circle. That'll keep you going forever.
Yeah, that'll keep the referrals flowing.
Yep.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. It was a boatload of great things. We have a couple of people in the chat who all said thank you, and they really appreciate all the value adds that you guys gave to us. And again, thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you.
cheers to a great 2025 that you have coming up.
Cheers.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
see you
Bye,
later.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
This lead has already been claimed. Goodbye.